Let's go! Final Flash!
With the trade deadline fast approaching and All-Star break already upon us, the rumor mill has been churning. Trade talks are dominating the airwaves, and rightly so. After all, a lot of teams are looking to make some mid-season tweaks to improve their roster for the rest of the season, or have seen enough to decide that they just want to build for next year. This includes, surprisingly enough, the Brooklyn Nets, the Lakers, and even the Clippers, all teams that are considered to be in title contention. And it's not that they aren't competitive enough, it is that the borderline between can we win and will we win that they need to cross. Look, fellas, the Nets are making a big push for Blake Griffin, and with good reason. But what about the Warriors, who have been eerily quiet all this time? With the Warriors cooking up a championship roster for the next season, and Blake Griffin being released from his contract, there's a strong possibility that the Warriors consider signing Blake Griffin. But how would that even work? We currently don't have the cap space, we don't have room for a forward, and Blake isn't the best power forward that will be available for next season. Hey. So, what will it take for the Warriors to acquire Blake Griffin, and is it the right move? Let's get to it. Blake Griffin, originally drafted number 1 in the 2009 NBA draft by the Los Angeles Clippers, ahead of Stephen Curry, was one of the most electrifying picks at the time. I mean, I have people who don't even watch basketball ask me about Blake Griffin 10 years after the fact. Griffin was a highlight reel waiting to happen. After winning the Summer League, Blake went down in the final preseason game before his rookie debut, so unfortunately, as with many athletic players in the past, he was also an injury waiting to happen. A kneecap injury kept Griffin out for what would have been his inaugural rookie season, so he didn't play for the rest of the year. With the 2010 to 2011 season considered his rookie year, Blake Griffin set multiple records, including being the first rookie since Allen Iverson to have 2 40-point games in their rookie season, and the first rookie to play in the All-Star game since Yao Ming, as Blake made the All-Star reserve team. He also had the longest streak of a double-double by a rookie since 1968 with 27. The next year saw him paired with Chris Paul, with high-flying athletic dunks, his incredible above-the-rim play, and finishes from Chris Paul. The duo brought the name Lob City to LA. The Clippers finally made the playoffs for the first time since that one instance in 2006 with a 40-26 record. They went on to make the playoffs every year, setting franchise records in total regular season wins until 2018 when Griffin was traded to the Pistons and CP3 was traded to Houston. However, a lot has changed since Griffin's Lob City days. From 2015 to 2018, Blake had a number of issues. Partially torn left quadriceps in December of 2015, right hand injury January 2016, aggravating the left quad injury 2016, requiring minor surgery on his right knee December 2016, injury to the plantar plate of his right big toe April 2017, sprain November 2017, bone bruise in his right ankle March 2018, left knee surgery post-season 2019, second surgery on his left knee January 2020. How is this man still standing? Blake Griffin has had at least one injury every year since 2015. His days of being a high flyer are long past. However, that being said, he is still an effective player on the court. One of the biggest strengths of Blake, even in his high-flying days, was his passing. His ability to pass the ball has often taken a back seat to his athletic abilities, but with injuries having been a plague, Blake has tailored his game a bit more for the long haul. This means that instead of high-flying dunks, now you're seeing him pull up from 3. Instead of finishing lobs, he's facilitating and making plays. Sounds like a great fit for the Warriors. A power forward that can facilitate and pull up from deep. So what would be the cost of getting a player like Blake Griffin? This is where things get a little bit tricky. While Blake was on a sizable contract when he was traded to the Pistons, his contract was bought out for a reason. He did make splashes his first year as a Piston, but since then he hasn't been able to live up to his former glory that he had while playing with Chris Paul in the Clippers. He's gone from scoring over 24 points per game in 2019 to just 12.3 points per game so far this season. Last season wasn't much better at 15 points per game either, but I do want to mention that players like Jeremy Grant and Christian Wood like to have the ball in their hands, so this might have impacted Blake somewhat in the role that he's been trying to play. His efficiency from 3 and the field in general has fallen precipitously. He's currently averaging a Draymond-esque 31.5% from 3 this year, as well as 36% from the field. Numbers similar to last year. He's not exactly grabbing rebounds either, taking down just 5 a game. Not exactly great for a 6'9 or 6'10 power forward. With those types of numbers, the Warriors can only consider Blake Griffin under a few scenarios, which I'll go through shortly, but before that, let's talk about its fit alongside Steph, Klay, Draymond, and Wiseman. We could potentially have a lineup where we have Kelly Oubre being replaced by Blake Griffin and have Draymond Green instead playing the small forward position. That would, however, reduce our versatility at the forward spot. There's nowhere else he could possibly fit, especially given his current playstyle. Let's remember that we're not getting Lob City Blake here. Lob City Blake put up 0.4 threes per game. Currently, Blake puts up 6.2 attempts. That said, the Warriors would be looking at his playmaking and shooting, as that is all Blake really has left at this point. Now, would we really want to get rid of Kelly Oubre for Blake in any capacity? I don't think that's a good idea for a number of reasons. Kelly can easily guard 1 through 3 as well as most 4s, which makes switching very easy. A lineup that includes Kelly, Klay, and Dre will be as tough as they come defensively, and the Steph, Klay, Kelly trio will be a triple threat from deep that will be too good of a tandem to deny. Wiggins on the low side averages more points per game than Blake and is much more mobile, so he's better on the defensive end as well. Wiggins is also younger and shooting a better percentage from the field. Even if we do decide to get rid of Wiggins, Blake would still have to contend with getting the forward spot over Oubre, and I don't see that happening. This means Blake will have to be limited to a backup role on the bench, and coming off a $173 mil/5-year contract, he has to be incredibly humble to accept the backup role. But let's say Blake accepts this backup role and decides he wants to come off the bench. After all, it gives him the opportunity to play for a championship and enjoy a similar role to Sean Livingston, where he's a backup, essentially providing a veteran presence who's able to produce in a limited role, or maybe even like Iguodala, without the athleticism. If Blake does accept this backup role, the salary cap becomes much less of an issue. So what's his value? I wouldn't put him much above current Derrick Rose, who's on a 2-year $15 million contract. A nice cushion above the veteran's contract, but not so much to where we are overpaying a second player on the roster. That gives us some size and playmaking on the second unit. However, we will still need to open a roster spot and find $8 mil worth of players to cut for the cap space. In this scenario, I imagine Bob walking up to Andrew Wiggins and demanding he take an immediate pay cut. Okay, that's not gonna work. Pascal is currently cheap, so is Bazemore, Lee, and just about everyone on the backup unit, except Kevon Looney. We could clear some cap space with Wanamaker, but we still need 5 mil, so we would have to get rid of a number of veteran players such as Bazemore, Lee, and Alan Smiley, whom have made 1.5 mil a year. I personally would not want to move Bazemore, but the only alternative is to get rid of Kevon Looney with Wanamaker to clear enough space. This would get the job done and get Blake Griffin to our team. We'd lose some shooting and defense with Bazemore, or if we go with Kevon, we'd lose some rim protection and years of developed chemistry. So pick your poison. This is all assuming Griffin takes that pay cut. Granted, he paid away some of his contract to become a free agent. He seemingly wants to either bet on himself or has enough money and just wants somewhere to go where someone will appreciate his talent. While it's possible for Blake to have a resurgence, his value is nowhere near what it was before, and while I expect him to sign for somewhere above the veterans minimum, it is a huge risk to sign Blake at the moment. He played only 18 games last season, and despite playing 20 so far this year, I would be lying if I said I didn't expect him to have some form of injury in the coming months. And that's it for today's video. Let me know if you see a different scenario with Blake on the Warriors in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for more content. Till next time. Swish.
A block so hard, sweetie get served. Call me Lonzo Ball, bitches get swerved.
Usually I don't get down with these girls, but tonight it's on my mind, so I might eat these words. I just wanna